This is a recently revised BMW X5, and it's a little bit like my foldable mobile device because it's a phone, it's a tablet, it's a TV, it's a gaming device, it's a camera, it's also rather heavy. Now in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about it. Talk you through the update BMW has made to it as part of this midlife facelift. I'm going to talk you around the exterior. Not so keen on this, not so keen on that at all. The interior, tried its technology, and this is what it looks like at night. See how practical it is? That sounds like something out of Star Wars. Take it for a drive, and of course I'm going to launch it to see how quick it is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Very nice indeed. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching carwow. Right, let's talk about the design of this facelifted X5. So they've tweaked the light design, very textured, very 3D. They've also changed the bumper design at the rear. Now the look of the bumper is slightly different depending on which model you go for. Sport, M Sport trim, which is this, or the M Light version. As you can see, we've got some exhaust pipes which are real. Look, real exhaust tips, although they do have some slightly exaggerated surrounds. Moving to the side, we have some new alloy wheel designs, starting at 19s, going up to 22s. We've got black roof bars here, and we've got black around the windows on this M Sport version. We've got some slightly sporty extended sills. These fake breathers here. You know, it's quite a sturdy looking car with its creases in the bodywork. I love this paint, although it might be hard to maintain. Not so keen on this. We've got some new light designs, but we've got condensation in them. What's that all about, eh? Moving to the front, redesigned lower bumper compared to before. And once again, depending on which trim you go for, Sport, M Sport, or the M Light version, you've got slightly different designs, basically getting more aggressive looking, but all versions do have quite a lot of vents and stuff. It looks like a purposeful looking car. Anyway, let's talk about the price. So the BMW X5 starts from just over £69,000. This one is over £90,000 in the trim I've got here. Here on the inside, the revised BMW has an updated dash design with slightly strange knobs for the air vents. The reason this has changed is because you've got the new BMW curved infotainment screen and digital driver's display, which is quite nice and shiny, reasonably responsive, but most of the functions are now done through here, which is a bit annoying. And onto that a little bit later on in this video. In terms of material quality, it's classic BMW, so it all feels very, very good and expensive and nicer than the equivalent Mercedes. Even when you go down here to the door bins, that feels expensive as well. The only cheap feeling thing I can find in here is this sun visor. It's like breakdance music from the 1980s. You know, enough of that. You can tell how old I am if saying stuff like that. Anyhow, driving position, really good. Lots of adjustment in the sport seats, which come as standard. Actually, as standard, you get a vegan interior, so no leather, but this does have the leather and it feels really, really nice. Right, let's move on to practicality. So you've got some storage under here, USB-C in there. Can you see that? USB-C. This is your driver console-y stuff here, where you have your gear selector there. It used to be a big knob, but now they've actually changed it to this little toggle there. And you can actually update this for BMW's crystal clarity, which are shiny bits of glass instead of these bits of plastic here. Also, under here, let's have a look. We have the cup holders. Look there, you can see that they are heated and cooled. You can choose which you want. You have your 12-volt socket there, your USB charging port, and your wireless charging for your mobile phone. Oh, right, check out the glove box. So it is kind of largish, but this area does take up a lot of space, and what that is if I can open it up, come on, where is it? See that? These little cartridges are actually air fresheners, and it works with the car's ventilation system to send nice fragrances into the cabin, so you don't have to have a, I can't get that, sorry. So you don't have to have a magic tree air freshener just dangling from your rear view mirror. One last thing to show you just how practical the door bins are. Look, that's a massive bottle, there's room for it in there. I'm not going to stop though, look, another largish bottle, that'll go in there. Is there room for one more? Let's find out. Yes! There's plenty of space here in the front of the BMW X5. Now let's check out the back seats. Here in the back, knee room is all right. You actually think it's going to be more than it is, but there is enough room. And the seats are raised up slightly so you can put your feet under the seat in front, which is good because there is lots of under thigh support in this car because the seat bench is really deep. I wish the footwells were deeper though, they're quite shallow, but it does mean that you don't have a big hump in the middle of the floor. So if you need to carry 3 people in the back at once, the person in the middle seat doesn't really have to straddle that big hump that you get in some other SUVs. In terms of carrying 3 people in the back at once, there is enough room for 3 adults. Bit tight on the shoulders, but everyone has enough headroom because headroom's really good and the car's quite boxy. Yeah, it's a real practical car here in the back seats. The only thing is that you can't actually recline these seat backs. No, you can't, like you can in an Audi Q7. In terms of carrying children, ISOFIX anchor points are really easy to get to, and the doors open super wide, so it's easy to maneuver a big child seat in here, and there is just about enough space for a bulky rear-facing seat without having to move the front passenger seat forward at all. The car has these little things here where you can actually fix iPads and phone holders too, and look, you've got your USB-C charging ports in there. You've got climate control in the back as well as in the front. You've got these big pockets on the seat backs. Underneath here you have some more storage. You have, come on, cup holders, and wait for it people, some through loading as well. And one last thing to show you is that as well as some blinds there, didn't do that well, did I? Some blinds there, you have making that look harder than it needs to. You have windows that open all the way down. Right, I'm going to try that again because I don't want to look like a complete nut and numpty that can't operate a sunblind. I can't operate a sunblind. I really can't. Let's just move on and forget about that. The luggage capacity is 650 litres, which is better than a Mercedes GLE, but not quite as good as a Porsche Cayenne. I do like this. You have a split electrically operated tailgate on the X5, and that just makes it easier to slide things in and out. Whee! One of the slight problems with the tailgate though is that then it's like harder to reach into, like get to stuff at the back, like those tie down points down there. So that is an issue. So sometimes you want to put it back up. But anyway, while we're in here, let me show you this. Lots of storage under there, and it's nice that this is on a expensive feeling gas strut. That sounds like something out of Star Wars. Listen, like a laser or something. Crazy. Anyway, let's move on. If you need to fold down the rear seats, you have to walk around. Why don't they have releases in the boot? Bear with me. Well, that feels expensive, the way that just folds down. Let's do the other side. There we are. And then it makes it easier to slide things to the front. Right there. Nuts. And there's a problem with the this extended tailgate. And so you put it back up. Actually, I could have done that electrically. Why do something manually when you can do it electrically? And then it's hard as well because of this. Oh, I see. And that brings on to 5 annoying things about the BMW X5. BMW has moved quite a lot of functions which were controlled by buttons in the cabin into the infotainment system. For instance, in the past you'd control the distance for the radar guided cruise control using a toggle switch on the steering wheel. Now you have to go into the infotainment system, press that, press driver assistance, move down to driving, and then go to distance control and alter how far you want to keep the car from the car in front. Another one that's a bit weird is to alter the light settings. So you have auto on and off down here, but then you have to press this button to bring up the lighting settings to go and control whether you want all these features like dip beam and side light and stuff like that, rather than just having it down there, which seems stupid. There is no little wash function for the rear view camera, and it gets covered in grime, so you have to get out and clean it yourself this way. Lovely. This black trim looks really nice, but it smudges easily and scratches easily, so you have to be very careful when you clean it. I actually cleaned an 8 Series that I had with a similar kind of trim, and I ended up scratching all this panel. Didn't tell BMW, I just gave it back. Hopefully no one from BMW is watching this now. As you can see, the sills aren't covered up by the doors, which is a bit annoying on off-roader because these do get covered in grime and they stick out in order to create a sporty look. As a result, when you're getting in and out, you find that you rub your trousers over these sills and the back of your trousers then get a bit dirty. The plug-in hybrid version of the X5 has a boot capacity of 500 litres, which is 150 litres less than the standard car because there's batteries underneath the boot floor. They actually take up this space that I'm hanging out in at the moment. It's pretty comfortable. Shame you lose on the plug-in hybrid. However, that does bring me on to 5 cool things about this car. You see, that plug-in hybrid version has an electric-only range of 66 miles on a full charge, which is 1 mile further than Mercedes says their plug-in hybrid version of the GLE can go. If you need to carry more than 4 passengers in your X5, then you can get a 7-seater version for added practicality. If you think this car is a little bit too high, say for loading it with shopping or for your old dog to jump into, all you have to do is press this button here, and if you have the car fitted with air suspension, it will lower down on that air suspension. It's actually going back up. Oh no, it's going down. Why does it have to go up to go down? Anyway, look, you can see it lowering. That's better, isn't it? You can get this car with a panoramic glass roof, and look at this. It opens if you want it to, not just like that, you can make it open like this as well. Let a bit of air in. Also, you've probably noticed these little patterns in it. That's because it actually has LEDs which shine across it and they illuminate, and this is what it looks like at night. Quite cool, isn't it? This is my favourite button on the X5, the optional deployable tow hitch. Oh, that's lovely. I'm gonna make it go away again. I also like this as well. The way you can shut both openings in one go just by pressing this. I'm being eaten! I'm being eaten! Engine choices on the X5 include a 3-litre straight-six diesel with 300 horsepower, another 3-litre straight-six diesel with 350 horsepower, a 3-litre straight-six turbo petrol mated to an electric motor, plug-in hybrid with 490 horsepower, then a 4.4-litre twin-turbo V8 in the M60i with 530 horsepower. All cars have an 8-speed automatic gearbox and 4-wheel drive. Right, let's see what this X5 is like to drive, starting off with in town. So this particular car is fitted with the optional air suspension, and it's a no-brainer. In fact, it's so much of a no-brainer, BMW should just add it to the car as standard and increase the price, because some people will actually omit or forget or not even think they should fit it, and you've got to, because it's just so good at dealing with bumps. It makes the car feel sophisticated in the way that it drives. You just waft down the road. Oh, it's so comfy, so relaxing. Also, you sit up nice and high, so you get a great view out of the front. Bit of a blind spot here, but it's not too bad. Got extra windows at the back so that there's not too much of a blind spot caused by those rear pillars, and the view out the back window is very good as well. Steering is light enough in town. Obviously, it's speed sensitive. The brakes are progressive. They're not grabby, yet they're strong. As for the maneuverability, well, I'm going to do a U-turn here, which will probably annoy all the people behind me, but let's give it a go. Turning circle isn't the best. 12.6 meters, but let's see how I get on. So I'm going to enable my cameras to help me out. Come on. Right, let's see if I can get round. Should make it there. Everything's green. Everything's green and amber, so that's all good. Oh, here we go. Can I avoid the curb here? It's saying right. Now I'm going to make a bold decision. I'm in a 4x4. I'm going to go up the curb, which would be a fail if I was on my test, but I don't want to crunch my alloy wheels. Thing is, if I'd have been in a Mercedes GLE, I would have made that round, because its turning circle is 12 meters. That extra like 60 centimeters tightness would have seen me good. Oh, because I've enabled parking, it's like looking for parking spaces. Tell you the truth, I wouldn't bother using that system because it's not really very good. Let's park me on the curb. What are you doing, BMW? Parking is not complete. This is not a parking space. Hello? Hello? Well, you're telling me about the parking space I've just parked in? You blooming idiot! I need that to go away. Go away now. Go away. Off. Off with you. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Relaxingness. Oh, didn't mention. Gearbox. 8-speed is super smooth. You don't notice it changing gear. And the engine is generally very smooth on tick over despite being a diesel. Obviously it'll cut out when you come to a standstill, but you can turn that off if you want it to just constantly be running. Where's the button? Didn't find the button in time. But the way it starts again is pretty smooth. I do like this car a lot. Now let's check out the acceleration from 40 to 70 as I join the dual carriageway. So 40 mile an hour, there we are. I'm going to punch it. 3, 2, 1, go. That kickdown was so quick. And that's 70. Oh, this diesel engine pulls. You do not need any more performance than this. It is a fabulous engine. A little bit of a sound from it, but whew, you can't fault it because there's so much torque. Really, really impressive. Cruising at 70 is just effortless. In fact, I'm going to whack it into sports mode. Look, at 70, 1,500 RPM. Insane. I don't like the fact that you can't see the rev counter when you're in comfort mode. It's like this stupid power reserve thing, like it thinks it's a Rolls Royce or something. I know BMW own Rolls Royce, that's clearly where they got the idea from. You know, cruising at speed, it's really, really quite comfortable. You get a little bit of tyre noise because those tyres are huge, a little bit of wind noise, but still feels very, very luxurious. You are isolated from the elements. It's nice. Nicest thing though is looking down at the range here. So it says I've got 551 miles of range and I've got like 3/4 of a tank left. Earlier when I had the car, it was saying over 600 miles of range. You know, it's really refreshing for someone who often tests EVs and you don't ever see numbers like that on your expected range. But the reason the range is so good is because it's got a big fuel tank and it's got a very efficient diesel engine. So BMW quote like 38 miles to the gallon, but I've actually averaged 39. There is a lot to be said for diesel power, especially in a big car like this. It's got loads of pulling power, it's really efficient. Don't write it off. Don't write it off just yet. Now let's see if this BMW can do what BMWs are supposed to do and put a smile on your face as you rip it down a country road. So I'm going to go into sports mode now. Sports. It's a bit of a faff having to look down there. Go into manual for the gearbox. Come on, give me manual. What's the matter with you? Where's manual? Come on. There we go. Oof, yes. You can feel like the power being sent to the rear axle and it like driving out the bends. It does make it feel sporty. It obviously adds weight to the steering, makes the gear changes a bit quicker, stiffens at the suspension, but even though it's quite bobbly this bit, it's not doing a bad job. But if you want to, you can actually put in sports mode with softer suspension in sports individual. So I'll just do that now. Once again, not easy to do when you're driving. When they have the buttons on the steering wheel, it's like stupid. The steering's good, weights up nicely as you go into a corner, so you feel like you know what the front tyres are doing. And you can absolutely hammer this along a twisty road. Yeah, I think the comfort suspension works better on these bumpy British roads. So impressive and fun, you know. And this car, it's super practical, it's good for your family, but you can still have a bit of a laugh with it if you want to, which is not bad considering how big it is, how tall it is, and how heavy it is. Drives like a BMW should. Well, a BMW SUV should. BMW says this X5 30D will do 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. Let's see what the reality is. I wonder if it's got launch control. Got it in traction mode for the stability, sport mode and S1. This should do it. Let's just try. Left foot on the brake, floor the throttle. Does it say launch? Doesn't say. Yeah, it does. It was scrabbling for grip on the takeoff, but it's going now. 5.6. Nice. Very nice indeed. Yeah. So then, what's my final verdict on the revised BMW X5? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should go right ahead and buy the BMW X5. It really is a truly great all-rounder, just like my folding phone, yeah!